Hi, welcome to Checking In with Amy. I'm so glad to see you again. My name is Amy Goldberg. I'm a registered nurse with the Elder Service Plan of the East Boston Neighborhood Health Center. We take care of people who are 55 years of age and older who live in our catchment community of East Boston, Chelsea, Revere, Winthrop, and Everett. And we're delighted today to have as our guest Chad Williams. So welcome, Chad.
Thank you, Amy. Good to be here.
So what Chad's official title is Clinical Project Manager for the Rehabilitation Department. It's a lot to say. I have to actually read this. So tell me a little bit about your role in your background.
Sure. So my role with the Elder Service Plan is I manage the rehab department at our 3 sites. I also oversee development of new programming as far as rehab goes and any clinical management that needs to happen. Now, my background is I got a bachelor's degree in exercise science and then went on and got a master's degree in occupational therapy. So a number of different places I've been. I've always worked with the elderly, typically 55 and older, so this was a perfect fit for me.
Perfect. Yeah, well, we're delighted that you're part of our team. So now the difference, so you said an occupational therapist, so one question that's always asked, what's the difference between a physical therapist, PT, and occupational therapist, OT?
It's a good question, and anytime we talk moving forward, we'll just use OT and PT. So in our setting, the OT is going to look at the person's ability to do their daily activities, or what they call activities of daily living.
Right.
So could be getting dressed, could be bathing, could be making their meals, managing finances, going out in the community and shopping, things of that nature. So we'll look at what is preventing the person from doing those things independently,
Right.
and then design a treatment program for that. Now the PT, in our setting, typically what they're looking at is the person's ability to ambulate or walk,
Right.
for distance that they need to walk through the course of the day with good balance, good strength, and safety. We also look at things like what they call transfers. That's getting from a seated position to a standing position, or going from your bed, and then standing up, getting in and out of your shower, those sorts of things. There's a lot of overlap between the PT and the OT in our setting, but we always strive to make the person as independent as possible.
That's right. So we're going to talk today a little bit about home safety in fall prevention. So what I see when I go out to do an evaluation on a patient is someone sitting in their living room. I ask them if they use a walker or a cane and how they get around, and they said, oh yeah, I do. I use a walker and sometimes I use a cane. And I say, well, where are these items? And they said, oh, well, I don't have them nearby. And so I asked, how do you get from place to place? And they said, well, I hold on to the furniture. That's
Right.
basically what I do, because I don't like the way that looks. The walker makes me look old. I don't want to look old. So they don't always use it. So let's start out with home safety. And what is it all about? And what do you look for when you go out to do a home safety evaluation?
Sure, Amy. So everyone who is in our program gets a home safety evaluation at least once per year. And we're looking to make sure that person is as safe as possible where they live. We want to prevent any chance of falling or injuries or anything like that. We don't want folks to go to the hospital or whatnot. So I did bring some slides today. We'll
Good.
walk through those and we can look at some different things.
Okay,
So
that would be great.
yeah. So the first slide we have here looks like a living room, okay? So first thing you'll notice is there's a number of items on both seating surfaces, the couch and the chair. must be an avid reader, right? I see a lot of newspapers here. So, on the couch, there is some open space there, so it may not be as much of a factor, but I want to direct you over to the right side of the picture. There's a wooden chair here. And that newspaper gets slippery on a wooden surface.
Right.
So that person might go to sit down. They might, you talked about a person who doesn't walk well. Well, they might be worried and want to sit down as soon as possible. So they go to sit down, and that newspaper might slide out from under them, and they'll slide down, land on the floor, and now they've fallen. Or we can take a look at the couch here, the love seat. On the armrest, there is a sweater. Same thing. I go to reach and put my hand down on that armrest, and it slips out. I may lose my balance. I might not have a good base to push down on, and then I may fall as well. The last big concern I have in this picture is, and this is something we see fairly often, is you'll notice there's a little cord, electrical cord, across the floor. Again, it's like anything on the floor that's not normally there. If I'm a person that drags my feet, if I have weakness or whatever, I drag my feet, I might trip on that power cord. Again, it's a fall risk. And with not a lot of room to navigate in that space, that just adds to the level of danger, if you want to call it that. So we would be looking to remove a lot of these hazards, as well as open up the space. Maybe move the table out, make some space for people to navigate through. Right. So that's the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the first slide. Now we got another one here. This is another big area of concern. That's the bathroom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, bathroom, wetness, tile floors, slipping hazard. Right. Not only that though, we add a few things here. We have shoes, sneakers on the floor, right? So if a person comes in after a hard day of work or whatever, a long day, the first thing I want to do is just kick my sneakers off. Right. Get rid of those. And then I leave them there. Same thing with the towel on the floor and the throw rug. These are all tripping hazards. I might trip, might lose my balance and fall. So we would say to this person, remove the shoes from the floor, remove the throw rug, because those are definite dangers. The other thing here is there's a drawer that's kind of open a little bit. Mm-hmm. The person walks through there, they're not really paying attention. They could catch on that door. It may not make them fall, but it might hurt. Right. So we would want to make sure there's enough open space there. And moving on, another area of the home. Not every home has stairs, but most do. So let's take a look at this staircase, Amy. What do you notice about this staircase?
There's an awful lot of stuff on it.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of things in this one. I see balls, I see bats, shoes, pants. Hopefully they're not this crowded, the stairs.
I know.
But if they were, we would say, please remove the stuff. Okay. Now it looks like there's probably a handrail, at least on the left side, so that's a good thing.
Right.
You want something to be able to hold on to when you go up and down the stairs. Next picture. We're going in and out of our home. We need to do it safely.
Right.
Now, if you notice here, there's stairs. That's good. It's good to be able to get into your door with some stairs. However, there's no rails on either side. So if I'm going up or down, I lose my balance. I have nothing to grab for, right. And then I might very well fall off the stairs. So in this instance, we would, at the minimum, recommend one handrail.
Absolutely. Which brings me to a story that I went with my son to the Boston Garden, and we went to a game, and when it was over, we were going down a number of stairs. Now, I'm holding on to the handrail,
right.
And he's bounding down the middle of the staircase. So it shows you as you get older. I don't remember ever holding on like that, but I did. But I think as you get older, you really have to be aware of the safety of it all.
Absolutely.
And he didn't give any thought to just getting down the stairs.
Right, right. And you do need to think about things more.
Right.
Pre-plan some of the things you do, because
That's right.
if you don't have a plan for it, you may catch you by surprise
That's
and you're
right.
not ready. So,
That's right.
No, that's an interesting point, though. It does go to show you.
It goes
It's
to
nice
show
to
you.
have that something to hold on to.
I know, I know.
Now, we're going back. I know we touched on the bathroom before. We're looking at a shower stall here. Now, it looks like any shower stall you see in a home, typically. Now, I have an arrow down at the bottom. The reason for that arrow, Amy, is this. What you'll notice is, what's the color of the base of the shower?
White.
White, right?
Right.
And then what's the color of the tiles?
White. So there's no,
Right.
yeah.
So we have white on white. Sometimes as folks get older, their eyesight isn't as good.
Right.
I may not be able to tell where I need to step. So what I have in the next slide, I'll show you. This is just an idea of what we might do as, to help someone. What you'll notice now is where I have that arrow now, there's a nice black line. We may take a piece of duct tape, black duct tape, or some other color that's noticeable and mark that base so the person knows they have something to step over. It's like a mini hurdle or something. You're going to just step over that to get into the shower rather than possibly trip,
Right.
getting in. So, some other things we may do in that situation would be to add some sort of grab bar or something so the person's more stable. For the same reasons we talked about with stairs, you need something to hold on to.
Exactly.
Right. So, okay, so we're at the next slide now. And you might be looking at this slide, you might say, well, the stairs have two rails on either, there's rails on either side. What's wrong here? I don't see anything. Well, one thing you'll notice is that light from that window is really bright. And you notice there's glare there.
Right.
So this is the other thing that happens as folks age. They start, because of their lens in their eyes, things get cloudier and that glare becomes more of a concern. So that's the reason I have this here. It may make it hard for that person to navigate this space because you got all that glare coming in at your face. So ideally, we want lighting to be behind the person to prevent the glare. So we'd look at some options to reduce glare in this instance. Maybe a different shade.
I think
or
that's a
something
really
like that.
important point. I never realized that until you and I were reviewing this information. I thought it was really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing about lighting is, as a person ages, they need more and more what they call ambient light around you to be able to do
Right.
tasks. So the other thing we see a lot in home settings is it's just too dark.
Right.
So brighter lighting, but at the same time reducing glare is very
Right.
important. So, okay. So those are just some hot areas,
Yeah.
if you want to call it that we would look at in the home to keep people safe.
Well, it was all very helpful. I hope everyone enjoyed that. So now we're going to discuss falls. So we've had quite a winter. So
Yes.
it wasn't a very good one. And many people had falls. So let's talk a little bit about the main causes of falls today.
Okay, sure. So I just have a couple slides. They're just, a couple things that are, I think, interesting. The first one is rocks balanced on each other, you'll notice, and the rocks are falling. Well, this is balance. That's one of the main things that can factor into falls.
Right.
If I have poor balance, I'm more at risk for falls. Also, if I have weakness, muscular weakness, that's another big factor in fall risk. Something else people may not think of is when you get up from a laying position or a seated position, you get up really quickly. I don't know if you noticed, sometimes you may get kind of lightheaded.
Right.
I think everyone gets that from time to time, but sometimes it can be a real problem for folks, and they can actually lose lose consciousness and pass out. That's another fall risk. It's called orthostatic hypotension, where your blood pressure drops. And then the other thing is just objects in the walking path. And we talked about that. If you have things on your floor in your home, it's a tripping hazard.
Right.
Or even walking out in the community. I don't know if you've ever been walking and there's that one part of the sidewalk that's a little higher and you're not expecting it, you trip.
Exactly.
If you're not able to regain your balance because of strength or a reaction time or whatever, you may fall and injure yourself. Another one too, I have another slide. It's actually the last slide I have, but what you'll notice here are some shoe options.
Right.
And we do see these. These aren't just, these aren't a joke just to make a point. These are actually shoes we would see, even the really high heels. Maybe not to that extent, but pretty close. So again, this throws off your balance. It can shorten muscles that shouldn't be shortened. We have flip-flops that are also a tripping hazard as well. Right. So you need proper footwear.
Right.
And the physical therapist would help a person with that, choosing the proper footwear.
I know. Well, I know that in my own personal life, my daughter would love me to wear those high heels, but unfortunately I can't. The flip-flops I've worn, but I know as you get older, you have to get a little bit more practical, but it's hard to do that.
Sure, all of these things are hard. It's like you mentioned with the walker.
Yeah.
People don't want a walker because it makes them look old.
Right. And
but if it keeps you safe.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Right. Right, exactly.
So I think if you had to come up with a few main points for everyone today, like come away and remember a few things, what would it be?
Okay, so I can think of 3 main points. The first is make sure you reduce the clutter where you live.
Right.
Take things up off the floor. Make sure there's no cords running across the floor or shoes laying on the floor, or just things that might be in your path that are a tripping hazard.
Right.
Right. That's probably one of the most important things you can do. The second thing, too, I mentioned earlier, planning out or having a plan in place for some things. And what I mean by this is if I have a phone, I should have the phone nearby where I sit. I shouldn't have it across the room.
Right.
Because then if someone calls and oh my goodness, I need to get up and get the phone, I might rush. I might have something on the floor I trip over, or I might just rush so fast that I lose my balance and fall. So have things close to you that you normally use. Have your TV remote nearby. Have your phone nearby. That way if someone calls, you have it, you can just pick it up. You don't have to worry about rushing to beat the voicemail.
Right.
So, and then the other thing is, if there's any question about whether or not do I need some balance training, do I need anything, talk to your doctor. They can get you a referral to a rehabilitation professional like a physical therapist, right, who can then look and figure out if there are some things you could do. It may be that you just need some strengthening, some endurance, or you may need a cane or a walker. But again, these things aren't there to make you look a certain way. They're there to keep people safe. So,
and that's
so I guess that brings me to a fourth thing. That is, if you have something you were given to walk with to keep you safe, you should use it.
Use it. I know. It's
Those are my 4 points.
Okay, that's good.
Bonus point.
Bonus.
Yeah, right.
So thank you, Chad, so much. I really enjoyed having you. I think that this was extremely helpful for the listening audience. So before we close today, I just want to say thank you for letting us into your home. If you are interested in any material that we've talked about today, we would be glad to send that to you, along with in our bag called Checking In with Amy, with our logo on it. We'd love to send that to you. And I look forward to our next visit. We'd like you to watch to the very end of the show because you're going to see a 5-minute video about the Elder Service Plan. So until we meet again, stay well. Bye now.
My parents were always very independent. They always seemed to take care of each other. My dad met my mom when she was 13 and he was 15, so they got a lot of practice. It was really difficult when they were faced with health challenges and started to need some help. It was also really hard on me and my brothers. It seemed like every day we were getting calls. They needed to go to this appointment or that appointment, and it became pretty apparent that they really couldn't live on their own without some help, and more importantly, stay healthy. We're lucky to find the Elder Service Plan. Almost immediately after enrolling, we saw some real change for the positive. All their medical appointments were in the same location, including the prescriptions. If they did need to go to see a specialist, then transportation would take them, and that was a big relief for us. My mom attended the PACE Day Center each day where she could really socialize, and she loved that. When they needed services in the home, that was a big help too. And my dad, he'd still call me every day, but not because he had to, because he wanted to. He'd say, "Stevie, you won't believe it, they fixed my teeth. They got me some new shoes today." It just brought some amazing stability to the family. I'll see you a little later today, okay?
Okay.
My name's Lucas Akerley. I'm the Activities Coordinator for the Elder Service Plan in Winthrop. Today we're doing active parachute games. We have a ball toss with some music. It's fun. Keeping active at ESP is part of our plan to keep you happy, healthy, and independent.
Our mission at the Elder Service Plan is to keep our participants living safely in the community. And we do that in a number of ways, the first being with the physician and the entire team to take care of the person medically. We also try to think creatively and provide other things that they may need, be it shopping service, laundry service. We may provide respite for the caregiver, or even aid visits in our supported housing. We try to be as flexible as possible here in the Elder Service Plan to reach the goal of keeping our participants living safely in the community.
My name is Patty Ferranti, and I'm with the Elder Service Care Program, and I absolutely love it. Just talking about it right now makes me want to cry. Before I was at the ESP, I was always calling my family and having them, pick me up to take me to doctor's appointments and stuff like that. And now now that I'm in ESP, I have the door-to-door service, coordinated care. My doctor always knows I'm coming. They always arrange my appointments. Everything is just so perfect. The program is fantastic. It really is.
Any pain when you do that? As a physical therapist in the Elder Service Plan, a big part of my job is to help people keep up with their strength and balance. A lot of times I see people after they get injured or some type of surgery, but another part of my job is to make sure people stay active with a regular exercise program so they don't lose the strength and balance they gain back.
What we do is we talk to the person to find out what they want. Do they want to increase their endurance, their strength? Do they want to be able to do things easier throughout the course of their day? We will work with them and develop a plan, and we move forward with it.
We try really hard to keep up with the mission of the program, which is to keep people in the community of their choosing for as long as possible and as safe as possible. Even sometimes just a cane or a walker can make all the difference in making sure people stay safe.
Very central to our plan and what we do here is the patient, the person. And the way we deliver that care is by having a care plan which centers around the person's goals, their choices.
As the medical director for the Elder Service Plan for the last 25 years, I've had the pleasure of watching our program grow enormously. While we started out largely in East Boston, we now serve participants in Chelsea, Revere, Everett, East Boston, and Winthrop. I think one of the real great reasons for our success is our ability to comprehensively coordinate our participants' needs. It's not just seeing the doctor or the nurse. Pharmacists, activities directors, nurses, nurse practitioners, van drivers, dietitians, all of us work together under one roof to keep our members healthy, active, and independent.